What does it mean when you say, I'll know you'll do even more than what I say? Go above and beyond. So, the picture being painted here is that Philemon will not only do what Paul is asking, but he'll do even more. Now, what more could Philemon do other than what Paul is asking? How could he go above and beyond Paul's expectations, in other words?
Well, he could free him.
Could free him?
That
Okay.
would be, I guess, the big number one.
Okay.
Number of other things he could do.
Okay. So he could free him. What are some other possibilities? Okay. Okay, elevate him. Better living arrangements. Now, that's true. Any other possibilities that someone might want to suggest before I point you toward one more that hasn't yet been mentioned? Okay. Now, there's one more. And I'd like us to turn our attention back to verses 12 through 14 of this letter, if somebody would like to read those. Verses 12 through 14.
I have sent him back to you in person, that is, sending my very heart, whom I wish to keep with me, so that on your behalf he might minister to me in my imprisonment for the gospel. But without your consent, I do not want to do anything, so that your goodness would not be in effect by compulsion, but of your own free will.
Okay. Now, we've already studied those verses, obviously. But what was Paul hoping for, according to those verses? What would he have preferred?
Well, that he let him help Paul, that he sent him back to wherever he's at and where he could assist him.
That's it.
I mean, he said it.
Yeah, that's what he said. So, coming back to this idea of doing even more than what I say, another possibility there is that Philemon might say, you know what, Onesimus, go back to Paul. He said in this letter that he would like your help, so go back to Paul. So that's another possibility as to exceeding Paul's expectations. Questions or comments on any of that before we tie up the point? Okay. So those are just possibilities. The text obviously doesn't say for certain, but it is important to consider the possibilities if we're going to get a better grasp on this verse. But whatever the case, the point of verse 21, as far as Paul's remarks go, is that he was confident Philemon would exceed his expectations. Now, in this verse, Paul is painting a very vivid picture of his confidence in Philemon. Now, from the context, this confidence of Paul in Philemon would be based upon the kind of person that Philemon was. And in addition to that, Paul's own personal experiences with Philemon would give him this confidence that Philemon would do what is described here. Anything else on verse 21? Okay. Now, coming into verse 22, the second remark that Paul makes, he says to Philemon there, at the same time also prepare me a lodging. Now, what's Paul asking for there? What's his request? Next time it comes to with you and Jane, you had something? Needs a place to stay. So yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. That's what the language says. Paul is requesting Philemon have a place ready for me. So yes, implied in that is that Paul hoped to visit Philemon at some point in time. But what Paul's statement here also suggests about Philemon is that he is someone who is capable